Welcome, 8th graders! I am absolutely thrilled to be hanging out with you today. Think about the very last time you tried to convince someone of something. Maybe you were trying to talk your parents into letting you stay up just a little bit later, or maybe you were trying to convince a friend that your favorite movie is literally the best one ever made. How did it go? Did it actually work? Well, if your argument felt, kind of flat, or if they just weren't getting it, you might be missing some absolutely crucial tools in your writing and speaking toolkit. But don't worry, because today we are going to change that. I'm going to equip you with the exact tools you need to completely transform your flat, everyday writing into powerful, unforgettable persuasion.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's lesson. First up, the power of wise words. Then, analogy, building a bridge, followed by juxtaposition, the sharp contrast. After that, combining your new tools, why these tools matter, and finally, we'll wrap up with the godly learner's mind.
Section 1. The power of wise words.
So why do we even care about rhetorical devices in the first place? Well, simply put, nobody wants to listen to a boring, unconvincing argument, right? Having the right facts is really only half the battle. If you present those facts in a totally dull way, your audience is going to tune out before you've even made your main point. We literally have to learn how to dress our ideas up so people actually want to listen. To really grasp this, let's take a look at Proverbs 15:2. It says, "The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly." I absolutely love that word there, adorns. To adorn something means to make it beautiful, to decorate it, to present it well. As writers and speakers, how we adorn our knowledge is honestly just as critical as the information itself. You can have all the right answers, but if you don't know how to present them wisely and attractively, they just sound like foolish noise. Our goal today is to learn how to adorn our arguments beautifully.
Moving right along to Section 2, analogy, building a bridge. When you are trying to explain something brand new or maybe incredibly complicated to your audience, you can't just throw facts at them and hope it sticks. You've got to guide them. You basically have to build a pathway from what they already understand to this entirely new idea you want them to grasp. So what exactly is an analogy? It's a comparison between two things, usually used to explain something unfamiliar by relating it to something you already highly familiar with. I want you to think of it quite literally as a mental bridge. Your reader's standing on one side, the side of things they know. The new concept? That's over on the other side. An analogy connects the two, making it super easy for your reader to walk across and just go, okay, I get it now.
Let's look at a really classic example. You've probably heard the famous line comparing life to a box of chocolates. Now, if you just tell someone life is unpredictable and full of surprises, that's fine, but it's a bit dry. But when you say life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. Suddenly, it just clicks. The big, unfamiliar, massive concept of life's unpredictability is perfectly explained by the very familiar, super random experience of grabbing a chocolate out of an assorted box. You totally understand the feeling of hoping for caramel and getting coconut, right? That feeling instantly transfers over to how you understand life.
Here's another one that's directly related to you guys as students. Compare studying without a plan to building a house without blueprints. So the crucial point here is, this analogy takes something you might not always take super seriously, like studying for a test, and it connects it to something everyone absolutely knows is a total disaster: trying to construct a massive building without instructions. This analogy creates a meaningful logical connection that immediately proves why planning is absolutely vital. Without the blueprint, the house falls down, and without the study plan, well, the grades fall down.
Section 3. Juxtaposition, the sharp contrast.
So now that we know how to connect ideas, let's talk about separating them. Because sometimes as master communicators, we don't actually want to explain how two things are similar. Instead, we want to slam two wildly different things together to highlight a stark, shocking difference. Here is your working definition. Juxtaposition is placing two very different ideas or images side by side to make their differences stand out. Unlike an analogy that builds a helpful bridge, juxtaposition doesn't really have to explain anything. It simply puts two total opposites so close together that the contrast does all the talking. It visually and mentally forces your reader to stop, look at the two extremes, and really think deeply about why on earth they are placed together. Take a look at one of the most famous opening lines in literary history. This is by Charles Dickens. "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Notice the dramatic shift there? Best, worst. Dickens doesn't spend a whole page trying to explain that society was complicated and divided. Nope. He just juxtaposes the two extreme opposites right next to each other in a single sentence. And that creates an instant, unforgettable impact that hooks you immediately.
Here's another incredibly visual example for you. Picture this. In the middle of the war, children played hopscotch. And this brilliantly illustrates the true power of juxtaposition. You have the dark, terrifying, incredibly heavy seriousness of war right next to the light, innocent, joyful image of kids playing hopscotch. The innocence of those children clashes violently against the backdrop of destruction. That contrast makes you feel the tragedy of the situation way more powerfully than if I just stood here and read you a list of war statistics.
Section 4. Combining your new tools.
Okay, so what happens when we graduate from basic writing and start using both of these master tools at the exact same time? Well, look at this phrase. Her smile was sunshine in the middle of a thunderstorm. This is so good. First, we have the analogy. Comparing a smile to sunshine, it explains the warmth and the brightness of the person. But then, we have the juxtaposition, placing that bright sunshine directly in the middle of a dark, booming thunderstorm. By combining them, we create a wildly vivid emotional image. The smile isn't just nice, it's this desperate relief in a terribly difficult situation. Now that, my friends, is master-level writing.
Section 5. Why these tools matter.
Now you might be asking yourself, why do I actually need to memorize these fancy terms? Well, let's summarize the core benefits you unlock. If you choose to just ignore these techniques, your essays, your speeches, your persuasive arguments, they're going to remain flat, boring, and totally unmemorable. But when you use them, you gain immense power as a communicator. First off, analogies make complex topics clear, which helps your audience get it significantly faster. Second, juxtaposition highlights important contrasts that people might normally just overlook. Together, they add immense emotional power to your words. And that is the absolute secret sauce. Making an argument emotionally powerful and undeniably clear is exactly how you sway opinions and change minds. To make sure you fully grasped all this, here are your 5 steps for active practice. Number 1, define analogy in your own words. Number 2, go hunt for an example of juxtaposition in a book you're reading right now, or maybe a movie you love. Number 3, flex those creative muscles and write your own original analogy for friendship. Number 4, write a brief explanation of how juxtaposition makes a persuasive argument more powerful. And finally, number 5, find an analogy in a historical speech and explain the exact effect it has on the audience.
Section 6. The Godly Learner's Mind.
Now, let's pivot to what is arguably the most important part of our entire lesson today. Here at HeroesMart Academy, we don't just teach you how to be clever writers. We firmly believe that education intertwined with biblical morality is absolutely essential, because education without morality, that can actually hurt. Think about it. Getting intelligence and mastering tools of persuasion is not just about making yourself more capable or powerful. If you are highly persuasive but you lack a moral compass, you can easily lead people astray. Instead, your growing knowledge and these powerful new rhetorical tools must be used to help you make wise, God-honoring choices.
The Apostle Paul reminds us in Romans 8:6-7, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace." As your teacher, I want to deeply encourage you to vigorously pursue academic excellence. I want you to learn these tools, master the English language. But as you do it, keep your mind spiritually minded. Keep your intellect centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on righteous choices. When you do that, your education truly leads to life and peace.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question to think about as you start your homework. How will you use your new persuasive tools to honor God and build others up today? You now have the incredible ability to build bridges of understanding and highlight the sharp contrasts between truth and error. Go out there and adorn your knowledge with wisdom. Have a truly great day, 8th graders.